here. Today I would like to make a video about perfume tray of month of May. These are the fragrances that I'm really looking forward to wearing this month. I have already started, though the weather outside not very springy. We still have 3 to 5 degrees of Celsius, rain and wind, but I'm really looking forward to the warmer weather. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's start with no particular order. Let's talk about Gardenia Petale from Cleef and Arpels. I love this Gardenia. It is a fragrance of white florals with a little bit of green notes in here. It also has some clean, airy soapiness, I would say. Not too much. It doesn't smell like detergent or anything, and it doesn't have aldehydes either, but just a teeny tiny bit, maybe from the lily of the valley it comes from, I'm not quite sure, but it is very fresh floral fragrance. If I would compare it to Gardenia from Chanel, I would say that Gardenia from Chanel is sweeter. There are notes of tuberose and orange blossom. I think there was vanilla and fruity notes in there. It is a more sweeter take on the Gardenia, whilst this is much fresher with this a little bit of this soapiness and green touches. It's not very green scent, don't get me wrong, but if I would imagine a scenery, I would say that to me it kind of smells like if you walk out of your house in an early morning into a garden and you get this fresh morning breeze coming onto you, and with this breeze you get the aroma of florals and green bushes from nearby. This is how it smells like to me. It smells fresh and realistic kind. Okay, let's continue with this beauty. This is a beautiful orange blossom, but this is not, to me, it's not like Love by Kilian or Oriana by Parfums de Marly. It is not as sweet. To me, orange blossom here is just as much as the iris. I think these two notes are equally prominent in this fragrance. It is a slightly powdery. There is a pinch of ylang ylang. You don't get any banana feeling nor a tropical beachy vibe. No, that ylang is tiny bit noticeable, just tiny bit. There's a little bit of sweetness from vanilla and amber, but I wouldn't call it a very sweet scent whatsoever. Personally, to me, it is mostly combination of these two. The most prominent notes in here for me is the iris and orange blossom. And it is so weird because to me these two notes are I wouldn't think that they go along, you know, but therefore the scent is very unique and classy to me. Reason why the dent is not as big, I mean, I would need to make a completely separate video why this scent is very important to me. I have been starting to use it only recently, but I mean, I started using only this month, and this is the dent I made this month, and I'm loving it. I would like to tell you about this beauty. So I bought it just recently. I bought it from someone I know, so this is a partial. I get approximately half of the bottle, and I'm over the moon to have this. I've been wanting to add it to my collection, God knows how long. I fell in love with it even before I got into niche and perfumery, just like I am now. For the longest time, I wasn't able to even try it in stores because we don't have it anymore. This is a beautiful rose. To me, this smells like a roses in a greenhouse in a botanical garden where you get the aroma of roses and yet the humidity of the greenhouse. Or even better description, I think, would be if I imagine a morning dew on rose bushes or rose blossoms. So because there is rose, watery notes, and ambrette. So to me, I really get these florals that are covered with this morning dew. I love it. I absolutely adore. I couldn't be happier to have it in my collection. I'm trying to not wear it too much because God knows if I would ever get another bottle. But it is most definitely one of my favorite roses in my collection. Let's talk about the next one. So this is a bright, uplifting, beautiful osmanthus with almond, mouth-watering black currant. I really get it in here. It's it just, you know, absolutely mouth-watering in the beginning. And altogether, I would say that this is a creamy, a very comforting scent. I am wearing it when I want something soft, comforting, enveloping. I know that some people describe it as a very bright sunshine scent, whilst to others they get that tobacco blossom. I personally love, love, love tobacco. So for me, the tobacco blossom in here just gives a little bit of interesting twist. I wouldn't say that it's super prominent to me. I don't know. To me, it's very, very comforting and lovely. This is the only Floraïku that I have. I will put it here so I'm not mirrored as much. And your lips. I would say that it is predominantly a vanilla fragrance. Though you get the rose in here, you would think that is a sweet rose fragrance. Yes, on some level we could say that. There's a little bit of jasmine, you know, that's floral aspect. There's a little bit of juiciness from the mandarin and bergamot in here. But the reason why I absolutely love this scent, it's because this floral vanilla scent is very aromatic. I can't necessarily say that I can pinpoint separate notes of lavender and clary sage in here. There's also a juju blossom, which I'll be completely honest, I don't know how it smells in real life. But if I would imagine, I would say that I have this picture in my head that lavender and clary sage is like maybe dried, maybe not, but it's like collected in a bowl, let's say. And all of these things are, you know, mixed together in a bowl and creates this aromatic feel. And together with vanilla and mandarin, it all together is so mouth-watering delicious to me. I wouldn't say it's edible vanilla. I wouldn't say it's gourmand edible kind of a scent. At first, when I first tried it, I even thought that it's quite generic, but the more I smelled it, I just fell in love with this little aromatic twist that it has. I love it. I needed to have at least a travel to enjoy, and I really, really do. This is one of the biggest floral loves that I have in my collection. Every time I wear it, I just want to cry because this is so expensive and I already have a huge dent. I'm very lucky to own this. I cannot imagine buying it again, so I think I should wear it not so often, but there are no words to describe how much I love this fragrance. So I will try to explain how it smells, though please bear in mind there are a lot of notes in this scent. It is very refined, soft floral with fruity, citrusy touches and with nuances of woody notes. So personally to me, I get a very soft, dialed down jasmine with floral notes. This is not an andolic jasmine, not the piercing, headache inducing, not anything of that jazz. My friend the other day, when I gave her to try, she even said like, where is the jasmine? Because to her it was more about the fruity aspects of the floral. But to me, it is very refined floral with fruity and woody nuances. And so it is called Nile River. It is tribute to Egypt and the Nile. And if we would imagine, I personally haven't been in Egypt, but if I would imagine going through a, I don't know, some kind of fruit market, I imagine being outside. So this is something very realistic. It's not synthetic vibe, you know. So I imagine being outside and smelling, like having these sniffs of aroma of fresh fruits. So I get I get whiffs of peaches and berries and mandarin here and there. I somewhere in this fresh air, there's, I don't know, some kind of aroma from jasmine bushes and maybe some white florals or greens somewhere coming, you know, maybe some kind of trees nearby. This is what I get in this. It is fresh, fruity, floral with some woody notes. It's indescribable. Why I want to say that, emphasize the fact that it's refined and soft, is because the florals that are in here are very, very refined and soft. I cannot, I'm repeating myself here, but it is very important. And I think The reason here is because of the almond. It doesn't state a heliotrope, and I couldn't say that it's heliotropy, but I think the almond probably is the thing that makes, as though all of the notes that I've mentioned are covered with whale, with almond. So basically in this fragrance, there are no piercing notes whatsoever. It's like everything has rounded, all the edges have been rounded and smoothed out. So it is a very soft, very beautiful, yet fresh and lovely. I adore it. Now let's talk about one of the fragrances that I've been loving for years. This fragrance, if you think that this is a not big dent, well, it is quite of a big dent, but let me tell you that this is not my first bottle. This is my third, maybe fourth bottle. There was one period in my life where I didn't have it, and then I realized I need to get it back into my collection. I need that scent. Let's talk about what it is about. So this is a fresh citrusy orange blossom fragrance. It is, so you have the citrusy aspects of bergamot and lemon. So it's sort of citrusy, zesty in the opening. It's fresh. And the reason why I love this scent is because it has petitgrain and cypress and juniper berries. So this is not a sweet gourmand orange blossom. It is very fresh, aromatic one. It is, to my nose, very similar to Eau de Sans by Diptyque, which also has orange blossom, bitter orange, and juniper berries. To me, they are very similar. Dior has much more notes that I will not get into because it will take too much of a time. I think the only difference between these two is that Dior has a little bit of almond that adds tiny bit of sweetness to the scent. It is not sweet per se, it just gives a teeny bit of sweetness. So there are no vanillas in here, no caramels, no nothing. But if we compare them to, so Diptyque, I think it doesn't have any sweetness in there, whilst this one has a teeny tiny bit. But I absolutely absolutely love it. I love it for hot weather, warm weather, refreshing, citrusy, floral. It is divine. Let's talk about Tilia. Now, I didn't like this one at first. I would like to tell you a little bit why. Reason being because I really like Linden Blossom, and before getting to know this one, I fell in love with another Linden. There is a Olfactive Pharmacy brand that also has a Linden Blossom called Tilia. And it is very realistic floral with tangerine and beeswax, and I mean there are lots of notes that I will not get into, but Tilia by Olfactive Pharmacy is a linden that I would say, if you would imagine putting your face right into branches of a linden tree, this is how it smells. It has There are a bunch of notes like magnolia, freesia, and I don't remember all of them, but they all make it so fresh and realistic. If you want to try realistic linden, this is what I would recommend you to try. It's absolutely gorgeous. I also know two more. There's Tiglio, and it's much more green because and more a little bit more fresh and piercing because there's ginger and neroli, but it's still very fresh and beautiful. And then there's a linden blossom scent, which is called Unter den Linden, and it's by April Aromatics, and it is a bit more sweeter. There's honey and there's mimosa inside, so and magnolia, I think, but altogether it's a bit more sweeter because of the honey, and that mimosa kind of gives a feeling of pollen, so it is a bit more sweeter and it's kind of powdery pollen feel, also more realistic kind of linden. Whilst this one, what we have here, I love it. I do love it, but I would say that this is rather a artistic, futuristic, imaginative kind of linden. So there is linden blossom, there's broom, there's jasmine, there's synthetic molecules inside. So to me, it is very beautiful, but if olfactive pharmacy is a realistic one, then this one I would say is a art form of a linden. So this would be like imaginative kind of one, like looking at the painting rather than smelling the real one. I will not get into it too long because I think that everyone and their grandma knows what Chanel is. I really like Eau Premiere. I like all the number 5. I love aldehydes. The reason why I like this the most out of all of them is it's less dense, kind of a less heavy aldehyde than the original. It is a bit more powdery. I get a pinch of rose peeking through in here. Though I really like the Law version, which is more citrusy and fresh, but this is, I think, my absolute favorite, and I will forever love this one. This is a beautiful take on hazelnut. It's my favorite from Teo Cabanel. I have some others that I like, but this is by far my favorite. The dent that you see, I created, I think, the first time I got it. When I got it, I think I wore it like months, for a month straight or so. This is a beautiful, creamy orris, creamy buttery orris with hazelnut, a pinch of saffron. There's woody aspects, you know, there's sandalwood in here. So altogether, it's sort of woody, nutty, kind of creamy, buttery, and yet powdery. Very interesting fragrance. I would say that if you like a note of hazelnut, I would highly encourage you to try this one. It is really interesting fragrance. I am embarrassed to show you how much of a dent. Look, I mean, maybe I should have decanted it by now. I don't know. So Scarlet Rouge from Moresque. I think that this is a scent that I would recommend to people who avoid jasmine. So for all of those who find jasmine headache inducing, piercing, indolic, insufferable kind of a note, which to me it is. I struggle with jasmine a lot. I get headaches from jasmine very often. I need to be very careful with that note. But this one is so soft. So you get the jasmine in here, but there are also white florals and there's cherry blossom. They mention also Taif rose, which, truth be told, I personally don't get anything rosy in here. And these florals are softened, so it's not very, you know, sharp floral scent whatsoever, because there's there's a little bit of pinch of bergamot in the beginning, which kind of gives this fresh juiciness, but altogether the almond and coconut milk that we have in this fragrance smooths out any sharpness, any edges, and makes it, I don't want to say creamy or milky. And don't get me wrong, coconut milk that we have in here doesn't make it beachy. It's not a tropical scent whatsoever. I would rather say that this coconut milk and almond just creates this sort of soft wail for the scent. If you struggle with jasmine note, this cherry blossom jasmine take, I would highly encourage you to at least try it. This is one of the few Arabic scents I have in my collection. This has been compared to Levant, Balaya, Flora Narcotique. I personally know not going to compare it to all of them. It would take way too much of a time to talk about the differences. I think they're quite similar to one another. This is a very musky, slightly fruity, floral. So we have here peony, we have orange blossom. From the fruits, we have peach and lychee and mandarin and tiny bit of bergamot. We have ambroxan and vanilla in here. I really like it for the days when I just want to smell nice, uplifting. You know, if we don't overdo it, it's very good for work. I work in hospital, so if I don't overdo, I think it's very nice, just pleasant scent for every day. And last but not least is this beauty that I didn't even think I would love, but I do love this scent. It is Terra di Gioia. It is an almond blossom scent. Jasmine is very uplifting scent. There are notes of pear and mandarin and bergamot in here. There's an amberwood and musk. And altogether, I would just describe it as a solar uplifting scent. And by solar, It is kind of beachy, but you know, it's not the tropical, it is not sunscreen scent. I would say that to me, it smells like if you are laying down in a beach and your skin is heated up in the sun and the sand on the beach is, you know, hot to your skin. This is how it smells like to me. If you would be laying there in the sun and you would get a refreshing breeze, and by breeze I don't mean aquatic nuances, just this refreshing wind onto your skin, this is how it smells like to me. I really love it, and I'm definitely going to repurchase that one when I ran out of it. So this is it. I've been rambling way too long. So let me know, have you tried any of them? Which ones you like? Maybe something you can't stand, don't like, or you could share with me which scents you're looking forward to wearing in the month of May. See you in the comment section and in the next one. Bye.